so.
Too early to be recording.
Well, I'll forget to turn it on if I don't.
I love labs anyway. I think him and Bucky will probably have,
Yeah.
I don't know, probably a bit. Bucky just takes us.
Well, he needs to be.
I ordered
Went down the road.
bag for,
He plays with my little mixed stops.
Yeah, years ago, my best friend lived in Monroe County, right, the forestry is right around his house. And this was, this was back in the eighties, I remember, and I, first time I ever spent the night with him, and what the crap is that? And they were bobcats, and that was that many years ago, so I know.
They can disappear about as quick as I jumped on.
she's always coming.
Young one, international, run the state department, was a sponsor, we sort of came together. And I thought it was a young farm. And I was on a horse, it was quiet, and I got closer and closer and closer, and all of a sudden,
All opposes every month, 1 month old. Sometimes multiple times. Sarah's not bad. I haven't. And so she hasn't done the.
Coyote hunts on some of our property, and stuff, boys, he said,
I don't know.
last year, he dropped a coyote.
She would do the family out.
It's laying out there, so this bobcat comes out, goes over to it, starts rubbing on it and stuff, and lays down beside it, like they were friends or something. He goes, it's the weirdest, oddest thing.
We'll pass this real quick.
I've never seen that before, because this bobcat, it was like, it wasn't like trying to eat it, it just went over and like, it hauled out a few times lightly, and it laid
I
down
call her,
next
she's not here, we're bypassing her, she's gonna come back next
Great.
week.
Teaming up in the woods.
Well, just let you know, she's not here at 6:29. She said she'd be here at 6:30.
I know Chelsea.
You're mean.
I know Chelsea.
Well, Survivorist tonight.
I've known Chelsea longer than I've known you, so. In fact, Chelsea worked for me.
they were very nice to me. But the boys were talking about all the deer out there. And I said, if you want to hunt, I'll give you written permission.
Chelsea's good.
One of them came by.
We hired her from Banning. Hired her away from Banning.
That's where I first met her.
When she's in Banning.
I haven't read that yet. Is that last week's or?
No, this came out today.
Okay. Does it talk about their thing about, I heard they were gonna do the hunting season for them.
Well, I doubt it.
Wait, I didn't see the words.
What is it?
It's a battery.
It's scaring the shit out of the neighbors.
Oh, it's got something wrapped around it.
Just in that dark little transit.
Is this the official one?
Yes.
What's this one?
I've never
This is the first one. Yeah, okay.
I think the foxes kill more stuff than anything else.
Chelsea's first?
We used to have a lot of fox.
Okay. She got a slide presentation?
Well,
No PowerPoint?
When you have those huge handouts. Hey, Dustin. Hi, Dustin.
No PowerPoints or nothing?
Are you trying to drag this out?
Do I?
You trying to drag this out?
No. I was looking at it, it's gonna be quick, then Chelsea called me, you called me, I was like,
I know, it's like, there goes our.
you need to sign those other papers, what?
Yeah,
Oh, they're sitting down there, okay.
he knows the drill.
He knows the drill, I don't know the drill. I'll admit it.
I'm trained, let's just say that.
Thank you.
I tend to follow instructions from certain people.
How's the fall been so far?
Not great. My mom's been in and out out of the hospital for the past month, so. But she's home now, so getting better. But
She is getting better. Good.
yeah, it's not fun balancing all that crap.
It's hard on you. Having a party, I guess.
They've learned, I won't see them all day.
Oh, they're out the fairgrounds.
Farmer's Day is over at the fairground.
Everybody's out for fairgrounds.
They usually all do it Sunday.
They,
Sometimes.
yeah, junior leaders and stuff. Up at, health department. And they could just be kids that walked in there too. Parents are, get out of here.
Little rabbit right there by the grain cart tractor, and they say, cool, yeah. And he goes and he flies over it, and I couldn't see the
Like a big
trees.
red tail or something like that.
Don't turn the wrong ones off, and it won't come back on.
And then he circled back, he doesn't have a rabbit.
Did they fix those?
Like, just dropped it.
For a while, it took forever for them to come up.
But then, yesterday, I watched, there were 3 of them. And this rabbit out there, and then they just kept running it around.
How many we need for a quorum?
He went up,
5. You got 4, we need one more.
Over in Signature.
I leave for Florida tomorrow.
I do Friday,
We're,
Destin.
we're heading, well, we'll be in Destin in February. We're heading down to, Fort Myers.
They seem to really like snakes.
I've seen them fly over there.
Well,
All
they live in
They,
Bonita Springs.
because they're
Oh,
all
Bonita Springs, yeah.
every day too, most of the time.
We always go to Destin in the fall, and then we head to Fraser Island area in the spring. We go to St. Pete's.
For yesterday, 'cause I thought, I was like, man, I haven't seen 10 minutes later, 3 of them, and I'm like, but they waited till just there was little left.
I had a friend, up in White County.
Too, with our friends that live down there. And then we're gonna drive up to Destin to see.
The other one time, he was all pissed
And we stay in a house right off the beach, not on the beach, but a block or so off the beach. It's got its own pool, it's for the grandkids. Heated pool for the grandkids, and they're in the water all the time. Boy, it's about time.
But he said, you weren't getting close to it. He was scratching around.
She told me you wouldn't be here right at 6:30. What time is it? Wow, you 10 minutes early. Wow, you're real early for you.
When all those eagles are around, and he's going through that last pass in the beans and stuff, and there's this rabbit running down them roads, and I'm thinking, what a horrible feeling. Does they come by behind you? You got eagles flying on your side. What are you gonna do? There's nowhere to go, because once it hit the open, it tried to stay in those beans, and it did not want to get out of there.
How those kids?
You done with your beans yet?
Giving it back and forth.
They do that. Oh, yeah, that's going around.
We did two fields.
What's the moisture in the beans? He says, which day, what time?
We totally got it from vacation the first time. This time, I was finally like, all 6
We've
days
been,
of church.
the past 2 days, we've been about 12 It'll start out.
When do you have to start drying?
And then get home from mountain. It's like, yeah, we're home.
You got one of them in school, right?
So Bryson's second, Ben's the first,
Okay, he's in first.
and then the twins are 16 months. So they're the culprits. So it's been 3 weeks.
You give them time, I mean,
Babysitter?
we're talking about today.
So the big, so Jesse, my babysitter, is then Kenny Costin's daughter.
Go get this corn. Give them a little time, you don't have to dry it. It'll still be there, it's.
They live in Sugar Grove.
Andrew?
AJ?
Well, and,
So,
we know
they live in, because I'm at a soccer
big
game.
breakdown or something puts you
I
off.
had football practice.
Really don't want to be out there when the snow starts flying. But we can't hold the beans, so we have to usually
Ship them, where are you shipping them?
Bungie, either Indianapolis or.
No,
Sweet girl comes up.
not
to
your
me and
kids.
says, "We've always had." I said,
Yes, yes, you can
And
help.
then, so she's on the field behind me watching,
My cousin just keeps hauling and sending me
Costa. And she said,
But this year, this weather's been so great.
you don't like him also.
Actually, one game, it's pretty much full.
If you don't like him.
Yeah, it was really
I didn't realize that means people didn't like him.
So I.
No, she's a nice girl.
She's super sweet. So,
We can only hold 25,000 beans.
That's something else.
I know what it is.
well, I didn't.
No,
because it
no,
was
you
all
didn't.
over her legs, and it was so
Not the typical.
typical.
Yeah.
And then the next day it was in her mouth.
Yeah.
So that was like,
Oh, we know what this is. Does she have other kids or just yours?
so just hers. So her oldest is in kindergarten, and so she's doing an at-home preschool, but is taking a year off because her other is 3 and not really much to go to preschool, so she's just taking a year off. So she said, I'll watch yours 2 days a week. But they haven't been here for 3 weeks. And we leave next Thursday for
Your,
kids.
My grandson.
oh, kidless here. Is mom staying with the kid?
Mom, my sister-in-law is flying in.
You're gonna have
She's
whole,
helping.
you're gonna have a whole group of people.
Yes, my mom for the first 4 days, and my mother-in-law has the last 4 days.
Her mom works at, you call Tim Bennett, and then on my way to, she works up there.
They get, my son is babysitting my granddaughter this week. Louis, he's 24 and he volunteered.
Okay, that's awesome.
Sorry, it's like,
That's huge.
No, that's good.
he's like all about, and she's like, I wish he could stay. They live in, my daughter lives in Ohio. And she's like,
Well, my brother's in New Hampshire, and so his.
And every year, it's the same thing. I could probably guess how many curl heads were on each.
And so her assignment ends someday this week, and so she was just planning on packing. When she realized we were going, and mom was gonna be alone with the kids, she said, and I was sitting there thinking, when we were out there in July,
There were those sick cows, heads. That paid for it. But she said,
also OCD.
she said they had a good bachelor's.
There's kids, man. You got all those kids. There's no way you're gonna keep all that done.
Taylor just said, you know what, I'm flying out, I'm helping your mom. And I was like, oh. I think mom was
But you never want to come back, ever. I got a new grandson. 2 weeks old now. My son had one. Neil,
That's his,
second.
is that his second?
Two, two more. I got 4 now. and Emily's having another one.
I didn't know either.
Another little girl in February.
Now, how old are hers?
6 and 3.
Okay, those are good.
Yeah.
Is she positive there's only one in there?
Yeah.
She's not.
No, she's had a couple ultrasounds. There's only one. I know. I remember the phone call I got from her. Had her son tell me, we're having twins. What?
I still have some PTSD.
She wakes up in the middle of the night, that too.
I did, I really did.
Well, Sarah,
You wouldn't give them up now.
Oh, no, but I can't imagine. I was a little, especially already having 2.
took everything over there, wash it, I just put it away.
I think Emily's are probably the last ones I get. Oh, they're a blast.
I don't especially remember that thing you're talking about.
You never know what they're gonna do next.
We had, I had conversations,
have another, she just had such a hard time with the first one.
No mention.
I had some questions on this thing we're asking you tonight.
The baby had, restriction.
One on the,
So she was
resolution.
Oh, yeah.
doctors and
Yeah,
ultrasounds and non-stress.
I read it last
I
night.
read it
like-
all.
Yeah, I read it
Everything
like
turned out
twice. and I'm
okay.
like,
They freaked
Well,
us
then
out saying that the
technically,
baby was home.
commissioners could do a
It ended up being 6.5.
eminent domain deal.
And so even the
But
day
my
she
complaint is that
did
it's
the
state
work,
law.
the doctor said there.
We're gonna give you, you had to move a while back, because of highways. And I remember you weren't,
sometimes
most
doctors-
pleasant first year out.
So
They just,
the only,
they don't want you to be surprised.
changed my life forever.
Well, the thing that,
Here, sit down, talk.
no, that's yours.
He
No,
switched names.
I switched them. I'm not good enough to sit up close to the center. I sit off the corner, get darts thrown at.
Did your kids come home quick?
They take two appraisals,
Carry those suckers.
and they give you,
In a day?
Good.
She's got a day of 3 hours.
I know. I was contracting.
but anyhow,
And you have these babies today, whatever.
so you,
The doctor said, I'm really shocked you made it this far.
Now, do it now.
I begged you last week. You said, no, we'll see you tomorrow.
How big were the twins?
7, 9, and 5.
I knew one was smaller than
And
everybody.
when they said 7, 9, I'm like, you mean combined?
Yeah, what?
Ben was 7, 5. Like, how did I have a 7, 9?
And then another one in there.
I'm like,
Was also the new one. He was right at 9 pounds. He's a big boy.
was their first that big?
Pretty close, yeah. Well, they're both big. Neil's 6'3", maybe.
sometimes you do.
He's 6 foot. He was 9'15". I was kind of.
If you're gonna force me to sell your place,
So Bride came out 7
it'd be fair to have it twice.
2 pounds less than I did.
Get your assessment, get it done, then give me twice. That'll take too much money. Well, the highway was a slightly different deal, but for something like this,
In there.
they're taking it, somebody else can make a lot of money.
Were Davis Phoenix, property north of Paxton.
Yeah, yeah, that new, that new,
Now,
yeah.
Talk about the one, the
That's where
place out
Tank's
you're
going,
talking
right?
about in Monroe.
we're doing a BOT.
Cranes
right
and stuff.
now.
But it said
That's
for
what
EMS,
I don't want people to really.
so I don't know if they've already talked to them, or this is just.
Talking to people, she said.
Oh, yeah. Do that. You got a lot going on.
To me, when you take the property, and she did not say where, but they've already picked the spot in the investigation.
Did?
Where it is, you,
It's,
Just revamp it or add some other parts?
They're not adding, they're adding to it.
You got Old Dominion going in, you've got that other company in your building, and when's Old Dominion coming in, do you know? That's where my son works, he runs the terminal in Indianapolis. I'm trying to get into.
and,
She's trying to hide from the back, the back 40 back there.
ask some questions.
I tried to get there today and had all the roads blocked off. What's going on? She usually parks across the street.
Did you give the answers they liked?
Depending on which way she came down though, if you didn't plan for the square being closed, you gotta detour around.
You know, Martinsville's horrible.
At,
Same road.
Henderson Falls. The house that used to sit there right at the corner of 37.
Beginning, so you,
Yeah.
people are driving
You get
down
all the
there,
way down,
they go
then
down,
you gotta
the
back
road's
up.
closed.
Yeah.
had the detour sign and then they closed.
Yeah, the detour sign, then the road's closed. So what are you guys doing?
It's a mental acuity.
It is.
It's the same week every year.
Yeah, I
You should
know.
know by now,
I know.
right? Like,
I get
who's
it.
expecting?
Nobody wants to admit that it's this far.
I know. That's why I pulled in, I was like, I forgot it was this way. I'm like, already?
You're looking down that street. What is, oh, fall foliage.
It's October already.
You see those big rides sitting down there on Morgan Street.
When that's over, that means Christmas is almost here.
Because I can't,
Roy Jesse, or who was it?
she knew that I was going.
1, 2, 3,
6.
6. Michelle probably won't be here.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Oh, Steve.
Well, I was invited somewhere to do a headless horseman thing.
Oh,
She said,
Polito.
do you have a sword and can he steal it from you?
Second grader.
I don't
third
have your
graders,
sword.
Busloads of them.
I've got a sword, I think.
that pet cows.
Did you have,
They tell them all about it. Yeah,
Actually
yeah.
carries an axe.
really?
Yeah, but the farm kids are going, I work around these things all the time.
You got a big old axe, but you ain't gonna wanna carry that big.
Move
In
on.
the movies, it's always one of those two-sided deals.
No, I got one of them too, yeah.
Except for Melanie.
Got a sword at the end painted red like I just stabbed you.
Got a bee.
I thought you had a
Nobody's
sword
looking
that
at
had like blood
It looks
running
like
through it or something.
She said,
Had that plastic one.
see the top of her head.
Took it.
No, I didn't.
You just see the top.
That's all I can say is like, looks like her hair, but I'm not gonna judge yet.
That's like I see someone.
Broke yours. It's been,
During the haunting, where did you have that at? Where did we
Howdy,
do
howdy.
that?
I think you took it in Hall School.
Hall School. I wasn't, oh. I was the head
Everything's,
of the
we were laughing about it. We figured that's what happened. You probably come in on 69, had a jog all over.
I don't remember that.
If you don't know which roads to turn
I
on.
was the headless horseman one year.
The thing was, oh, then we knew you were guilty.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember, I was one year, I was a headless horseman inside, and you was right outside. I remember that. Yeah, that's
Kept going by
possible.
him. We're like, that's Melanie.
Yeah, several years
Sandy,
ago.
I'll recycle this for you.
Dustin's fault.
Ready? It is 6:35. I recognize a quorum. If you please stand, we'll say a pledge of allegiance. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'd like to welcome everyone to our October Plan Commission meeting. First thing on our agenda is approval of the minutes. Has everyone had a chance to read the minutes? And if so, any additions or corrections to the minutes? Motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next, approval of agenda. Is there any additions or corrections to our agenda? If not, I'll call for a motion.
So moved.
We have a second? Justin, second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. We'll move on to new business. Resolution 2023-01 and an order of the Plan Commission. Ms. Mann? Kelsey, Joe, hey, hang on. It's on the top, I think. There it is.
There
it
we
is.
go. Let's try that again. I'm Chelsea Manns. I work for the Morgan County Redevelopment Commission, and thank you very much for your time this evening. You have essentially two resolutions. One is an order, one is a resolution. If you're wondering why they're different, it's because we have two different attorneys. But if you will allow me, we'll just take a minute to go through the process of what we are doing and then what we're here before you all to do this evening. So the Redevelopment Commission is currently working to amend the existing economic development areas that exist in the county. So that process started, actually it started years ago. It started in 2020. We began looking at maps and trying to figure out where's growth happening, and with 69 coming in, what makes sense. And so that has culminated to where we're at right now. So in September, the County Redevelopment Commission passed a declaratory resolution, which essentially says, this is what we would like to do, and now we're going through the process of what that looks like. So you have in your packets the maps of the areas that we would be expanding, of the allocation areas that we'll be adding to, creating new, and the acquisition list. So again, we declared we were going to do that in September. The next move is that it comes before the Plan Commission to make sure that this coincides with the master land use plan. So that's what we're before you tonight, to make sure that what we're doing coincides with what you all do with land use. Then we'll go before the county commissioners next Monday night at their meeting to make sure that, again, there's another level of oversight and that what we are doing coincides with what the commissioners would like to see the redevelopment commission doing. And then there will be notice given to those affected property owners that there will be a public hearing on Monday, November 13th at 8:30 in the morning at the November Redevelopment Commission meeting. Any public comment will be heard at that time on behalf of the Redevelopment Commission. And then if the commission would so choose, they would pass a confirmatory resolution, and that essentially closes the loop and finishes the process. Questions there? I'll go a little bit more into what it is we're really trying to accomplish, but that's the process. Questions on that? Clear as mud?
I'm good.
Okay.
Everyone good with that? Okay.
So the three things that I think matter the most for you all is understanding the maps that are included in the parcel list. So the economic development area that we are expanding, think of that as where we're going to spend money, okay? What money am I talking about? That's coming from the allocation areas. So where we're expanding the allocation areas, that's where we're gonna be capturing revenues. That's where we see there being TIF revenue generators. Maybe that's more of the commercial industrial type properties. And then the acquisition list. I know that sounds scary, and I can certainly understand that. The Redevelopment Commission by statute does not have the ability to use eminent domain. However, in order to even begin a conversation with a property owner, it must be on the acquisition list. If we go to Mr. Fry and your property, it's not, but if it were on the acquisition list and we say, Mr. Fry, we have interest in purchasing your property and talking about it, and you say, and I have no interest to sell, the conversation stops. But in order for us to even have that conversation, it has to be on this acquisition list. So again, we cannot use eminent domain. This is the first step in a very long process to acquire some of the land that is on the acquisition list. I will also say that just because it's on the acquisition list doesn't mean that us reaching out to acquire or to even begin a conversation will happen. That doesn't mean it will happen this month or this year or this decade. Some of what we're doing is kind of speculating. We think there's going to be growth in Henderson Ford. There's a new interchange there. We can all guess that there's probably going to be development there. So some of what we're doing is really kind of a guessing game. So with that, I'll pause for a minute, see if there are any questions, and then I'll dive just a wee bit deeper into both the West Point and the White River Valley areas.
Any questions?
Okay. If you will, let's do resolution number 2023-1, which is the White River Valley Enhancement Economic Development Area first. So if you'll remember, back in 2014, 2015, we passed the White River Valley Enhancement Economic Development Area, and really that was capturing TIF from the, what was at the time, IPL AES new facility. And what the Redevelopment Commission did at that time was created separate allocation areas in the Waverly area, in on Old State Road 252, Old Morgantown, in Henderson Ford, as again we knew there was going to be an interchange there, and in Eagle Valley itself. So what we're planning to do is expand some of those areas. We're also going to be creating a new allocation area, the Wetzel Trace area, which is actually in Waverly. It's just on the southwest corner. We've been working with a developer for a year or more that's identified that southwest corner as an area that they would like to develop. And so we really wanted to make that its own standalone allocation area. I won't get into the weeds too much, but there's a 25-year clock that begins when debt is issued. And so we wanted that allocation area to be brand new, not attached to any of the others, so that they could have a fresh 25-year clock when debt would be issued. So
Yeah.
I'm happy to answer any questions regarding Resolution 2023-1 or any of the corresponding documents regarding the TIF expansion areas.
Any questions? No? No, you're good.
Okay. Then secondly, we have the PC order, which is for West Point. West Point's a project we've been working on for ever.
Right, yeah, ever.
And so essentially, if you have had a chance to read through what we've done, best way to say it, we're blowing it up and starting over. So
Did to be blown
it
up.
did.
It did.
It did. So West Point, resolution one that we passed essentially did away with the existing West Point. West Point allocation 2 is putting it right back in place. Again, that has to do with that 25-year clock because nothing had happened out there yet. And then we are expanding around that area as we see once that is taking off, and it is. You can go out there now and you'll see that it is taking off. We expect there to be additional growth around it. And then some of the economic development area also has, we're adding a couple parcels, both on the north side of Monrovia as well as the south side, as the county is looking for a new EMS facility, and we're trying to help them identify, use some TIF funds to help identify that and to pay for that. So, again, happy to answer any questions regarding West Point.
And so the old West Point, Hendricks County's agreed to blow it up with you?
Yes.
Okay.
So this has been completely lockstep with Hendricks County. They've been great to work with. It's been a very long process, but
Yeah, it's been quite a process.
that it has. But yes, we are doing this lockstep. So our attorney is now Adam Shorewald with Barnes and Thornburg. He also represents Hendricks County. Lisa Lee has been representing, really been working on West Point forever. So we continued with Lisa on West Point, but that's why there's also two. If you're looking at this going, why is this not the same? It's because Adam drafted one and Lisa drafted another. So.
Only
Yes.
question I had, the continuance, you guys worked that out, that's just, I'm just curious. 70, you don't have to take that out, and you can be continuous down south of it?
So.
On the parcels? Just a question.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Lisa very creatively did that when they created the White River Valley through right-of-way. So you can use right-of-way, either road right-of-way or
Make
waterways
it contiguous?
to get the contiguity that you need.
Okay.
Yes, yep.
So I just noticed 70 cut right through it, and then it's the same parcel, but it's separated, so.
Yeah, yep. So on West Point, it's actually all north of 70. But yes, what we're gonna add, it
With the
does
south part
cut.
you're
So
gonna add.
yes, so
Okay,
we
that's- I just-
essentially I used 39.
And I thought right away could be
Yep.
used, so.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Sorry, I got you off track.
No, that's a great question.
Any other questions right now for Chelsea? Anything else?
No,
All right, Thank you.
appreciate it. Thank you.
You'd like to speak?
So the reason for the visit tonight is just to ensure that the areas of expansion, as Chelsea so capably described, match up with our comprehensive land use plan. And many of the same people that work on the RDC and those other agencies and boards are also involved with the comp plan. So there's no doubt that they match up. It's identifying areas that we want to grow economically, and those match up with our comp plan. So there's no disparity between any of them, and just wanted to reassure you of that. So it's completely thumbs up from my standpoint on approving this resolution. I guess there's two of them, so.
She supplied a letter also, it's in your packet, a recommendation.
Them together, though, right?
One's a resolution, one's an order. So, I believe, Mark,
We do under one motion.
do them separately, correct? The resolution and the order separately. Okay. Any other discussion? I will call for, we have to have separate motions for these. So I will call for a motion for the 2023-1, the resolution. We approve these, correct?
Yeah.
We approve these. So
Make a motion that we approve resolution 2023-01.
resolution, do we have a second? Mr. Rumball seconds. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Thank you. Now I'll call for a motion for the order.
Make a motion that we approve the order of the Plan Commission.
Do we have a second for approval order of the Plan Commission? Seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Let me get my paperwork out of the way. You got the original, right? Okay.
Maps, hard to read.
That's where we sign it, right here.
Is there
Here. Oh, that's not the sign.
I just forwarded what they prepared, so it's one for you and then Dustin.
That he just attests it. Here. Same thing here. The other one right there. Thank you, ma'am. All right. We will move forward. Next on our agenda is a public hearing for petition Z 2308 to rezone. Robert Jeffries is requesting to rezone 1.8 acres from ag to B1 to reactivate a permit on a existing billboard on State Road 67. This property is located on North Royal Lane in Jefferson Township. Mr. Jeffries, are you here? Yeah. You state your name and your address for us, please.
Good evening. My name is Robert Jeffers. Address is 2920 West Rotary Lane, Monrovia.
Okay. You want to just kind of discuss what you're...
Yeah, absolutely. Again, like I said, my name is Robert Jeffers. Again, I appreciate your time tonight. So I'm a local business owner here in Morgan County. Own and operate a State Farm agency over in Morgantown. So I'm here today to request approval, the rezoning of the property, as you just mentioned. My kind of intent, if this gets approved, kind of threefold. First and foremost, advertisement for my business. Two, gives us an opportunity to give back. Right, so there's 3 panels on this billboard. I don't need all 3 for advertisement for myself. So what we would like to do is donate a panel for free advertising for local nonprofits. Give us an opportunity to give back to the community. Finally, gives us an opportunity to try to clean up and beautify a sliver of Morgan County. I've noticed over the past few years there's been quite a bit of beautification over Morgan County. So it gives us an opportunity to try and do our share there. Yep, that's what I'm requesting, my intent. Again, I appreciate your time and consideration. Any questions regarding the matter for me?
Any questions?
As I read this on, the way do you get to your property?
Correct.
You have to go through somebody else's property?
Correct. There's currently an easement through the adjoining property. Yes.
So there's no problem then as far as you having a legal easement to get to this?
Correct. There's an easement that's on the deed, yes.
Isn't there gates there by the dog place? He shuts the gates there by the fence? Is that? you have that information?
There is a gate there, yes.
And you've already asked, so that's, the canine's up for sale.
Correct.
So you're asking us to give you an easement, even though it sells to somebody else?
No. He has a legal easement, recorded easement. He has the rights to
Well,
use,
legal easement, but
right.
The guy that owns it.
The guy cannot block it. If it's a legal easement for ingress egress, he has rights to go across it.
Well, what I'm saying,
Buys that other property, he has that right. It will carry on.
the guy has to keep gates open all the time, but he's got to get.
It has to give him access, so if he needs access, he'll have to open that gate for him.
All right.
Yeah, yeah. He cannot block his access if he's got an ingress egress easement, so.
Further questions?
What'd you say, Boone?
No further questions after that one.
Any other questions? No? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
We have no one in opposition, but we do have one interest. Mr. Morris?
Yep. My name is Dale Morris. I'm the owner of K9 Play and Stay, and this is of the adjacent property. Now, as far as the zoning goes, I have absolutely no issues with whatever zoning that he's seeking to get. Good luck to you. The only question that I have is how is he going to get to his property? They've tried several times, and this has not been pleasant. They were back at my place in August the 16th, and their sign truck driver was thinking, and he stopped. And before he made 541 feet of these kind of marks going through my property to get to his. Yes, it has been entered that there is an easement. And this is the documents from their closing saying where the easement would be. I have my original, let me see if I can find it here, all my stuff. And I know this is probably not the time nor the place for this, but in the documents, this is what it says. By the conveyance grantor, William A. Peden hereby reserves an easement over and across the above real estate on and along the dirt path as it presently exists for ingress, egress, and maintenance of the grantor's adjoining parcel. This is the map of the properties. Mine is the larger one down here. His is the smaller one next to it. Much of the property there is owned by the state. Part of their road goes right through, and we have paved or asphalted right up to the edge of the road for parking. We did this 4 years ago. So that's the only question that I have. He can build anything he wants to there that you will allow. But at some point in time, before we go much further, it's going to have to be determined exactly how he accesses the property. When you go through on a wet day, 541 feet of my property in a vehicle like this to service those 3 signs. And then when they speak of the dirt path, that's the best I can figure where the dirt path is. Just yesterday, the mowing crew came down this said dirt path with the big John Deere tractor and a gang of lawnmowers behind it. He got right off of Highway 67, drove all the way down on the inside of the guardrail, all the way to the corner intersection with the John Deere tractor and a gang of lawnmowers. this is the description that the easement has been given in a legal document. And their document that they have in my hand relates to my document as to where the easement lies. Now, they can do whatever they want, but I promise it's to have somebody be able to drive a big truck like that. They don't call, they don't say, Mr. Morris, we're going to show up. They just show up. Last time when his sign company came, they came with about 3 trucks, that big one I showed you, plus the guy that owns DG, his big truck with a big trailer on it. And they didn't say a word to me. They just pulled up in my driveway, and I told them to leave. And I'm not trying to deny anybody access to their own property, but I do also find it strange that he has to go across my property when his address is the Royal Lane, not Highway 67. Looks like he needs to get my opinion from the map. He needs to get a permission from the folks that own this great big square property where that road ends to get access from the end of that road to his property. I mean, it is a Royal Address Avenue with no numbers, but I'm Highway 67. I don't know the answer, but I'm not going to be happy with having me lose my entire usable flat land. The rest of this land's up that straight hill. I don't have much property that I can use. And in order for them to have an access through 541 feet of my private property with big trucks is kind of excessive, in my opinion. That's cutting my property in half, and I get nothing for it.
Okay, any questions?
Does your piece of paper indicate how wide this?
Nope,
There's no indication of width.
there's no.
And can you determine where the aforementioned easement was prior to this? I assume it was a gravel road?
Yeah, well, originally it was the Highway 67 before they dual laned it.
It was actually the off-ramp.
Right, and so I've got, I don't know, 3 or 4 acres of mine, but a huge percentage of the property that I have has been set aside. I think it's an acre or an acre and a quarter, something like that, of our property that has been set aside for an easement, evidently for the county, and that's where the ditch is. That's the other problem. If you go up as it's indicated, my belief is when I bought the property that this fellow's, Mr. Peden, told me that what he likes to do every day is get up in the morning, have a cup of coffee, and he goes for a walk. We have neighbors that walk their dogs up and down that same path. So it would have been of my layman's opinion that what I read must have been correct, because part of that is an old abandoned Indiana Highway 67 road that goes up so far, and then it leads into a little pathway. And I think that his original intent was not for cars and trucks to be going through there, because they can't get across the ditch unless they would put a culvert in or something. Or I don't really know how deep the ditch is or how bad the ditch is, unless all the overgrowth would be cut out of there. That's the only way you would know. But it does not make me happy to think that I'm going to have to give somebody 24-hour access going through the vast majority of my property, which makes it useless. We have trained dogs in that area. We've contemplated fencing that area in. so that I can run some more dogs out there. Yeah, my place is for sale, it's been for sale for a year and a half. I don't think anybody's got any money. So, you know, there you go.
All
But
we're hearing
as
today,
far as zoning, I don't
I'd
care.
say, all we're hearing today is the zoning part. The ingress egress part, you know, that's probably a civil issue it would come down to. Unfortunately, we have no say in that, and.
So where does a fella go from here? Because this is going to be an ongoing problem.
I think you two need to get together and discuss the easement and what you'd like to have, what would happen. You know, if he has, either parcel got legal easements going through their property, then, you know, you need to get together and discuss it. And maybe have a surveyor come out and survey a piece and tell you where that easement should be. And then write that description a little. That's a very vague description, going down a dirt path. That's very vague, and that's old time, that's old school, okay?
I know, this old school was done on April the 8th of 2019. This is when the old school thing was written.
Well, that's when you bought it, but that description was
That's-
probably done way before that, so.
No, that was done then. I've got the documents where Mr. Peden signed
Well,
it.
Peden might, not knowing Mr. Peden, he might have done it right then. you know.
That's
And
when
I
it
know
was
Mr.
done.
Peden, I know him.
Yeah,
so.
you know the Pedens.
Yes, I
So
do.
do I.
Yeah, we do, we do.
Yeah.
So, and there's really nothing this board can help you with on that
Sure,
easement.
I understand.
You know, but I would recommend you two get together and figure that easement out.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Spell it different, too.
Would you like to have a rebuttal of any type, Mr. Jeffers, or? We need you to step to the mic so it's recorded.
No formal rebuttal. I did talk with Derek over at DG Graphics after that incident, and he informed me that Dale is more than welcome to call at any point in time to have them come repair any damages that were done. He tried at the time, but Dale told him to get off the property and not come back, so that's what he did. Derek tried to come back a later day, but he was told to get off. But yeah, he's more than welcome to call DG at any time to get those ruts repaired by DG Graphics. Appreciate it.
Have you got that number for DG Graphics to give him? Okay, okay. All right. Ms. Parker, you got anything you'd like to add? Any discussion or comments? Call for a motion.
I'll make the motion to forward a favorable recommendation for the B1 rezone request for Z-23-08.
We have a motion to send a favorable recommendation to the commissioners. Do we have a second? Mr. Rumball seconds. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. You'll have to come to the commissioners' meeting. Which one is it?
Next Monday at
Coming Monday.
6:30.
And it's in the evening, correct?
Yes.
6:30 in the evening next Monday here. So, and then they give their final yes or no on that. We just recommend to them on this. So, okay? Yeah, thank you. We'll move on. Mr. P, do you have anything you'd like to discuss with us tonight? No? All right, Ms. Parker, you're up. No.
So as you know, this area used to be in the buffer zone, and now it's under our jurisdiction. And so we've recently had a couple of questions about the properties along this corridor, which is what I've illustrated for you here. Not sure how the city handled things in the past in terms of building permits and the change of use and different things like that. So it just seemed that it made sense that perhaps we want to look at this, much like we did at the Kitchen Road and Dayhuff intersection, where we had some industrial zoning that really needed to be residential. And we took steps to go ahead and make those corrections and make it fit for the area. So I'm suggesting to see if you were interested in doing the same thing here along this corridor. Specifically just looking at those commercial properties. In this case, the ones that are marked with the red dot. If you can read the number in the dot, that's the year that the building at least was recorded or established according to property tax records. So you can see, you know, from the 70s to the 50s to the 40s, a lot of those buildings have been there for a very long time. And so if anybody wanted to move into those or acquire them, you know, right now they're zoned ag, and it creates a lot of difficulties in terms of rehabbing those buildings or changing the use that's there. Not long ago, the building that's marked 76, because it was built in 76, along the top, changed hands. I guess it sat vacant for a while and then was sold. I contacted the city for any zoning variances or rezones that occurred along that corridor, and they came up with nothing. I don't know how far they looked or what they did, but I did ask, and so they said they had no record of anything. So basically, we're working off of ag-zoned property when in fact there are commercial uses there. And it can be quite a hindrance for any of those changes to take place when they're zoned ag, and then they have to go through the hoops of variance or rezoning. So I'm just wanting to put this out there and get your feedback. Again, the red dots illustrate the ones that are already commercial structures, and most of them are being taxed as commercial, not residential. And then I also added in a couple of yellow dots that are for consideration, because the parcels either have commercial buildings on them, may not currently be used as commercial, but have the potential, because of that corridor and the development that's occurring there, might make good candidates for at some point down the road, you know, being a commercial use. And I'm not talking about industrial changes. I'm looking at, you know, a B1 or a B2, something that's, you know, a house currently could be used for, you know, a real estate firm or, you know, some other service industry. So you just never know what might happen down the road. Obviously, we would go through the same sort of rezoning process where we would reach out and have conversations with neighbors and see what they think about from those property owners and how they might react to having it changed. Most of them, it's going to benefit them. It's not going to change their tax rate because they're already being taxed as commercial. So I'm not trying to step out of my lane because I'm not the assessor, but just looking for feedback, thoughts.
You're not gonna do across the highway?
That's all flood. I really wouldn't want to see any of it changed to encourage or imply.
It's probably floodway in a couple of spots.
Yes, absolutely.
All of it's
All of it,
floodway.
yeah. I did think about that, but I thought you don't want to really encourage.
I wouldn't think about the floodway,
Yeah.
but that is floodway.
I took it off because it just made the map easier to see, but yeah, that entire, everything east of the 67.
Yes,
is
floodplain and
Yeah.
floodway,
Yeah.
yeah.
Is any of that ground in the floodway or floodplain?
Do what?
Ground in the floodway or the floodplain?
On the other side, on the west side? On the east side of the road is all floodplain, all of that. In
But
fact, a
none
lot
of
of
it,
it's in the floodway.
right, but none of it to the west.
But the pieces that she's got marks are out of the floodplain.
There's a whole lot of brand new
The-
fields
the
that just got put down
67
very late.
cuts that floodplain off right there.
I know that. Like Edgewood and all that area up in there.
Y'all get flooded in 2008. I remember they had to go through there and get
It's not on the maps.
So. So you just need us to look at this and come back, is that what you want?
Yeah, I'm just looking for feedback. If this is a direction you want me to pursue, fine. If not, we'll shelve it.
How would you approach this with these people?
Notifying them, like we did before. I sent a letter and explained why we were wanting to do a rezone and get their feedback. And then, obviously, we would have a public hearing if we move forward with it, and we would let them come in and have their say.
My only concern, like where AmeriGas is, a red dot with 82 Laura, would you only do like the area that they're utilizing, not go all the way up them hills and hollers, correct? on that
Yes,
parcel?
absolutely. We
Yeah.
would almost
And I-
draw a line through
Yeah.
there, and it would only be the front portion that's actually usable.
Yeah, because that hill goes up pretty fast.
Oh,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have a problem with none of these myself, and I live right out there, but I wouldn't have a problem with any of them.
So you're wanting discussion and give you permission to start the process? Is that what you're asking for?
If you want to think about it, we can talk about it next month. You don't have to decide on the spot. I'm
Okay.
just used this as an opportunity to say, hey, this is an area that to me has red flags that says we need to address it. Because now that it's not in the buffer zone,
So all those pieces, the red ones are ones being taxed for commercial right now?
Yes.
And the yellow ones are still ag?
yes. Or residential,
Yeah, or residential.
right.
So the yellow ones, would that change their tax base? I mean, what they're being taxed for, or?
Not as long as the use stays the same.
Okay.
I mean, the zoning
I don't
can
know the
change
taxes either,
without their assessed value changing because the use is residential.
Okay.
And it may be zone commercial, but it's
It's
simply.
being used as residential?
Right.
Okay.
So, okay. You guys are excited about that, I can tell.
All right. She's got all kinds of stuff.
This is trying to get ahead of.
Oh, meeting schedules?
Yes, you are. I usually remember you. I'm sorry. So it's pretty status quo. The only thing I wanted to draw to your attention was the October and November meetings for next year. There are Monday holidays in both of those cases that collide with our meeting date. And I've learned my lesson and not to schedule for Tuesdays. So you can see that those dates have been pushed to the Wednesday instead. And that would be the only two out of the ordinary. Kind of like this night
Yeah.
was moved for the same reason. Because it's a leap year next year, so it bumps things up an extra day.
Yeah, it does. You need us to approve these meetings?
I'm just,
dates?
if you want anything changed, I'm just looking for your consensus. You don't usually vote on them, but if you want to, you can.
No.
This is scary. Where are you looking? 2025?
Up to 2025?
I know. I always like to put the January on there because it's of the next year. It was crazy typing it. It's like, oh my gosh, that's a 25.
That is, that's wild, 2025.
Yeah.
Okay,
So, all righty, that's all
All
I
right.
had.
thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that's all we have on our agenda.
Question, when does the fair start next year?
Well, it'll be during that week. Yeah. Yep. It was this year, too.
Yep. Terry wasn't present.
You come to the meeting, I didn't come to the meeting, Bill. So,
Controversial thing come up.
yeah, it was a tough one for you, yeah.
That's when the fire started by the beef barn.
Yeah. Well, I will call for a motion for adjournment. We have a second? Second, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Meeting's adjourned.
So I'm a little confused about this. He always is good about the 39
have a good one.
Yeah, he just bought that piece too.
I've got the interesting
He lives in Monrovia? Oh, I didn't catch that.
The story, I got lost in the story a little bit there.
one of the naval battles. I believe it was from the
I
South.
wouldn't think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Well, I thought the idea that we could donate one to.
No, that's really nice. That's really nice.
All kinds of weird stuff like
You know,
that.
it'd be nice for them.
You'd be interested in it when I'm
That'd be
done?
nice.
Maybe we could approach it when we could rotate.
He's trying to clean it up, so it's in pretty bad shape right now. Well, but,
Cleaned up a little bit. You know, that motel that's there doesn't look too
the easement though,
great. Well, that easement is.
I haven't got last week's
If that
paper
guy
yet.
sells.
that's gonna give him trouble.
Wednesday.
Mail me
Well,
one.
yeah, it's Thursday when you get it, yeah.
It's Thursday when you get it.
When we get it.
Well, he lives in Morgantown, they're in the backwoods out there, because they come from Johnson County.
His easement, it might be described. The other one. Hopefully it's described.
But I don't think they're gonna let somebody place on their
No,
property.
not down the dirt path, no. Oh,
Wrong.
let him have his say.
No,
I
no,
know
no.
that I changed the address point sitting here because he was going on about the Royal.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
You-
yeah, so
See,
it's,
yeah, good luck with that. See you, Kenny.
I'll try.
They got the parking lot
What was
now.
the problem?
Should've done that the
He
first
was
thing.
talking about if he needed to get an easement off of Royal Lane because that's. how he
I've
But the
been-
easement has nothing to do
But
with
it
that.
has nothing to do, so I
Nothing to
changed, I would do the addressing, and so I just pulled it up and changed, it doesn't have an address, it's a vacant piece. When they did those pinpoints, they just put what they thought maybe someone.
Closest thing to it,
There was someone owned.
You put it to
that
67 or
property.
what? North 67 or what?
Yeah, North 67. If someone owned that property that was off of Royal Lane, they just
Yes, there
automatically.
is. I said, no,
Yeah.
there's
You
not.
got a library card?
And so. I didn't realize there was that many.
Public library.
That's right. Public is being the main word because they get taxes.
There's one
Make a
that's
difference, you got a card or not,
completely,
but
like,
public.
I had a thing
Yeah, but
during,
weeds
Weeds
or,
and
yeah,
everything.
oh,
It's
yeah.
during budget.
Did
one
Mr.
day
Backwards
afterwards,
places
I
up
laughed.
there?
I said,
Yeah.
Rich, because they
Mr. Backwards?
You never heard about Mr.
It's a
Backwards?
public parking lot.
No, he's never heard of Mr. Backwards before.
Parking signs out here on Main Street, if you're daring.
He's world famous. He was around when
Yeah,
Evel
except
Canino
I-
was around. But he would ride his sickle backwards and jump cars.
The recorder, or the surveyor did that.
That was me.
Yeah, so I told him.
Live, believe it or not. Or he was a couple of years ago, because he came down and talked to me.
That was a good job.
I said, well, John, there's no sign on it. Yes, there's a sign on that wall back there. I said, no, John, there's no walls, no
It's
place.
Laura's
for that."
fault we went so long.
Everybody